live, coming to you live. Talk about fitness, talk about 3 ways that you're going to gain muscle naturally. That intro was a little choppy, excuse me. You know, normally I go live Monday afternoons, but lately I've been trying out some new things. Sometimes I'll go Monday night, sometimes I'll go Thursday night. So you need to, if you want to catch my lives and you want to learn more about real life fitness, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you know when I pop on here. I'm doing all kinds of tests lately, right? I want to go live when most people are active. So I'm going to be going some different times, but it would also help me if you leave some comments on when the best time for you is, because I will cater to people. My goal here is to help people as much as possible. And the help you're getting today, like I said, we are going to talk about 3 ways to build muscle naturally. That's the goal. That's what we're doing. So stay tuned for that. First of all, how's your Monday going? Monday is the first day of the week. And Monday in my world is always the most important workout day. Why? Because Monday sets a tone for the rest of the week. I always say that Monday sets a tone for what's going to happen Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I make it a point to make my Monday strong. I never miss a workout on a Monday. I never mess up my meals on a Monday. I never mess up my sleep on a Monday. I make sure that I check that box the very first day of the week, and then I can carry that momentum through the rest of the week. How you start the week is how you finish the week. So how's your Monday going? Did you crush it today? Did you work out? Did you eat nutrient-dense food? Are you planning on getting your 8 hours sleep? What are you going to do today to make sure you win the week? Johnny says, hey, Bobby, good to see you live again. It's good to see you too. Luis Ortega Jr., what's up, Bobby? What's up yourself? Remember, while I do these lives, and I will talk about the 3 ways that you're going to build muscle naturally, but while I do these lives, a couple of rules that we got to get to, a couple of housekeeping items that we got to address. Number 1, ask all the questions you want. I will answer them. This is also a Q&A because I want to help you. And chances are, if you have a question, other people have that same question, and we all can learn together. The one thing I promise you, I don't promise you you'll like the answer, but I promise you I will give you a real answer, and I will tell you the truth when it comes to fitness. We're in an industry of hacks, gimmicks, 3 easy payments of $9.99. Everyone's trying to sell you something. There's always a snake oil salesman or a charlatan around the corner trying to sell you the magic program. When it comes to fitness, I'll tell you the absolute truth. Again, not the answer you want to hear, the answer you need to hear, all right? So make sure you ask questions. Number 2, you know what I live off of? Supers. You know what I live off of? Memberships to my channel. You know what I live off of? These gifts, these bonuses, things like that. The more of those you can give me, and I want every single one of you to give me one. The more of those you can give me, the longer I can go live, the more I can go live, the more I can invest into my videos that you love and how you found me. So help me to create more content for you. That's a very direct ask. No tricks, no gimmicks, no subathons or whatever people do. It's just a straight up ask from me to you. It's like I'm just straight up asking you to tip me for my hard work and my knowledge. That's it. Gaskin's photography collection. If I only have 30 minutes, what are the top 3 exercises to build full body muscle? That's tough. Are we talking upper body or are we talking lower body? Now, I've got a couple of different answers to this. If we're talking upper body, push-ups, pull-ups, and dips. The body weight exercises rule supreme. That workout is called the Holy Trinity, and I've done it for years. It's featured in my best-selling book, Maximus Body by Men's Health. It's a 30-minute circuit. Get as many pull-ups, as many dips, as many push-ups as you can, all right? The lower body version of that is air squats, reverse lunges, and sit-ups to address the core. So you could alternate those day on, day off, day on, day off. So the upper body Holy Trinity on Monday, the push-ups, pull-ups, dips. On Tuesday, you do reverse lunges, air squats, and sit-ups. Then you go back to push-ups, pull-ups, dips. Then you go back to the legs. That would work good. But if we're not talking that, and I just got to pick 3, if I can't separate it into upper body and lower body, I would pick pull-ups for the back and the biceps. I would pick a dumbbell bench press for the chest, the triceps, and the shoulders, and I would pick squats for legs. Okay says, hello, chicken legs. Do you really think I have chicken legs? I got 32-inch thighs. My legs are massive. So I don't know who you're talking to, but it ain't me. All right. Judar Atlas said, this guy told me I could do anything. I tried, but I still can't walk. Who told you that? And why do you believe him? And why can't you walk? Gaskin's photography collection. Perfect. Thank you. Okay says, I have Sam Sulek legs. I really doubt that. I really, really doubt that. I love how you guys on YouTube or the other social media platforms, you hide behind a fake profile. You don't have a real name and you're just running your mouth. You're all gas, but there's nothing in the engine. And you just say nonsense like this. But I am grateful you're commenting and boosting my algorithm. So I'm happy. You know, I knew you were playing, but I'm grateful for the boosting the algorithm. The more comments, the better. Now, Judar, wheelchair bound, my guy. Why are you wheelchair bound? What happened? So tell me what's going on. Were you in an accident? Were you born like that? Tell me what the deal is. I'll play. So you say you're wheelchair bound. What happened? I want to know. I'm curious. All right, so we are here to talk about, and I will address people in the comments, but we are here to discuss the best ways to build muscle. So the number one thing you want to do, and you're looking at somebody that's never used a PED, and I've never been on TRT. My testosterone, last time I got it checked, was 951, and that's naturally. My LH and my FSH were both 5.8. I've got all the blood tests to prove it, but I am clean, 100%. So if you want to build muscle naturally, there's going to be 3 areas that we want to focus on. The first one might seem a little simple, but it's sleep. If you sleep more, you'll produce more human growth hormone, you'll produce more testosterone, you will recover better, you'll have more energy, your workouts will be better. Sleep is where you recharge your batteries. Sleep is the most anabolic thing that you can do. People don't want to hear that because the first thing people cut when they don't have time, the first thing they cut is sleep. But sleep is literally the most anabolic thing that you can do. Trust me on that. When it comes to sleep, you want to get 8 hours a night in a completely blacked out environment. But you also, actually, let me reword that because I kind of bled into what I was going to say next. You want 8 hours a night in terms of quantity. But in terms of quantity, you also want quality. And sleep quality, there's something I call sleep hygiene. You want a cold room. That's number one. You want to have warm feet and a cold head is ideally what you're trying to do. I sleep with socks and I keep the room at about 65 degrees, okay? So you want cold head, warm feet. You want to have a really good mattress. A weighted blanket can help. You want to sleep in a completely 100% blacked out environment. That means no light whatsoever. So if you have a TV in your room, and I would recommend taking the electronics out of your room, but if you do like to watch a little TV before bed, I would put a piece of tape over that red LED light that comes off the TV. So when the TV shuts off, you have your sleep timer or whatever, it is completely dark. I would also recommend that you shield yourself from that blue light before bed. So if you are watching TV, wear those orange, like light blocking glasses so that it doesn't signal your brain that it's time to wake up. If you can do all these things, you will have better sleep hygiene. There's also some supplements you can take. One of the best ones is magnesium citrate. That's a great one to take to help you sleep. Some people take melatonin or valerian root, but you can take some substances to help you sleep that are more natural, right, as opposed to something like Ambien. So if you can get a better quantity sleep and more sleep hygiene, your gas tank will be full all the time, and that will help you put on muscle. I've known people who put on muscle simply by just changing their sleep habits. So don't sleep on sleep. See what I did there? Don't underestimate it. So sleep's the number one thing you can do. Now, if you're sitting there and you're like, Bobby Maximus, I can't get more, like I can't sleep 8 hours a night. That's fine. 6.5 hours is better than 6. 7 is better than 6.5. 7.5 is better than 7, and 8 is better than 7. 9 is better than 8. You get the picture. Just try to get more sleep. Even 15 minutes extra a night will help you immensely. Judar Atlas says people want to say you can do anything if you put your mind to it. I'm just saying it's not true. Tell me why you think that's not true. I'd actually love to hear where you're coming from and your point of view. Umesh Chiba says, love from Canada. Thank you. I am Canadian. I was born in Canada. I live in the United States now, but love my Canadian friends. Luis Ortega Jr. says, how to raise T levels without TRT, brother. Sleep is actually the number one. And I'm telling you how to do it and get more sleep. But if you get under 5 hours sleep a night, your testosterone will absolutely plummet. So Luis, you want more testosterone? The answer is sleep. Sandor says, I was always in shape. I'm not overweight, 60-year-old guy with bad back. What exercises to get rid of man boobs? I have adjustable bench and dumbbells. I actually just put out a video called 30 Minutes. It's a workout from home, the 5 dumbbell exercises you need most. It was my second last video. I put out another one today, but watch that video. It will help you immensely. You can do some dumbbell bench press. You can do some dumbbell reverse lunges. You could do some dumbbell front squat. You could do some sit-ups. You could do some push-ups. You could do some shoulder press. But you are going to do the exercises with the dumbbells. Like I said, there's all kinds of dumbbell workouts on my channel. That was one in particular that I just did a couple of weeks ago. I would hit something like that 3 to 4 times a week, like every second day. On your off days, I would do cardiovascular fitness because getting rid of the man boobs, so to speak, you're going to have to do a lot of cardio. And then I would watch my diet. I would make sure my diet was as clean as humanly possible. Scott Clark says, hitting the sauna, and you're on. Well, I am happy you're doing your recovery. It's a big part of the Bobby Maximus program, so I'm happy you're doing your recovery. Okay, but he also has to exclude hormonal causes and evaluate for flat back syndrome. I have no idea. Do you think Merab is on EPO? And then you say, but he also has to exclude hormonal causes and evaluate for flat back. I honestly I've lost the plot. I have zero clue what you're talking about. Like completely, you've lost me. Sandor says, thank you, God bless. So let's get back to the script. By the way, get your supers in. I want to start seeing the supers. I want to start seeing the supers pour in. All right. So okay says, no, I'm referring to the guy with the back pain. I still don't know what you mean, but he also has to exclude hormonal causes and evaluate for flat back syndrome. So I still don't know what you're getting at. I mean, the bottom line is a lot of people blame hormones. A lot of people blame that as an issue as to why they're not fit. Generally, it's not a hormonal issue. All right. People jump to TRT. People jump to HRT. They think that's always the problem. It's almost always a combination of sleep, nutrition, and training. And that's why hormones are tanked. So first thing, we covered sleep. By the way, get your supers in, get your memberships in. That's how I eat. Let's go. Also, comments, likes, shares, all the things. They all really, really help me. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to sleep more if you want to build natural muscle. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to sleep more. The second thing you're going to do is I need you to consume more protein. A lot of people don't have enough. That's just reality. The number that a lot of bodybuilding types float around is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight a day. Now that's probably not the scientific number, and it's probably more than enough, but at minimum you want 1.7 grams per kilo a day. And that works out to somewhere like 0.8 grams per pound a day. So you got to make sure you're eating enough protein. If you're a 200-pound person, you need at least 180 grams. Maybe 170 would do it, or 160, but that's a big difference from 100. A lot of people struggle to get 100 a day. Preferably, that's going to come from real food. Real food first. Eggs, meat, cheese, fish, chicken, things of that nature, all right? You're going to want to get as much high quality eggs. Eggs are great. As much high quality protein as possible. The secondary choice is a protein powder. If you still can't get enough protein, get yourself a really good high quality whey protein powder. So you got to make sure you get enough protein. So again, if you're a 200-pound person, I mean, I'd like to see 200 grams, but if you had 180, 170, 160, somewhere in there, you would probably be okay. But 100 is definitely too low. So you need to eat more high quality protein. That's the second way you're going to put on muscle naturally. The third, the way we work out is going to be important. You want to make sure you're working out in a way that's designed to enhance something called hypertrophy or the growth of muscle. The optimal rep set range for that, I mean, there's a lot, right? The big thing you're trying to do, you'll hear 4 sets of 15, 10 sets of 10, 3 sets of 12, 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 10. Everyone's got this 5 sets of 5, like they've got their magic formula. The key is you want to push close to failure while maintaining proper form and make sure your body's in an acidic state. So when I say close to failure, like say you do 10 reps and 8, 9, 10 are really, really hard, and you get that pump, you get that swell, you feel the blood rush to the muscles. If you can do that, that will signal your body to grow. If you lift too light a weight where you do hundreds of reps, you're never going to feel like that. If you lift really, really heavy weights where you're only doing a single or a double, you're never really going to do that. So we want that rep range. Like I'm going to say somewhere between 5 and like 15 to 20 reps. All right. So if you can do that, you will start to build muscle. If you look at some of the old charts from like Mel Siff's super training, he talks about 4 sets of 10 to 15 reps, 60% of your 1 rep max. That will probably do it. I find it though a little convoluted because a lot of people don't know what their 1 rep max is. So we want to do somewhere between 5 and like I said, like 15, 20 reps a set. And you want to make sure you are going close to failure. If you can do that, you will signal your body to grow. And that's why the Holy Trinity works, like the upper body exercises where you're doing the pull-ups, the push-ups, and the dips, because you're probably doing 5 to 10 pull-ups. You're probably doing 5 to 10 or 15 dips. You're probably doing between 5 and 20 push-ups, and you're just going around in a circuit. You're doing sets like that over and over and over again, building a massive amount of acidity in the muscles, and that's going to help signal growth. All right. That's in all layman's terms, but that's how your body signals for you to grow. Someone asked about IF, intermittent fasting. It's not magic. Intermittent fasting for a lot of my clients ends up being calorie and self-control, right? If you ask people to eat 5 times a day and have equally constructed meals, blah, 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 it can be a ton of work for people and they get overwhelmed and they end up overeating by the end of the day. Intermittent fasting, if you can convince somebody to just have a 5 or a 6 hour feeding window, then it's calorie control, because in that 5 hour feeding window, you can only have so many calories. Like think when you have a Thanksgiving dinner, you eat like 2,000 or 2,500 calories for one meal. You're not eating the rest of the day. So if you limit yourself to a 5 hour feeding window, if that makes sense, it's like a form of calorie restriction or calorie control. Okay. Okay, you're just arguing with people in the comments. That is fine. Fill your boots. Have a good day. Johnny, I do several whey shakes during the day between meals and a casein protein shake 30 minutes before bed because it's a slow digesting protein during sleep. Thoughts? I actually don't think you need casein before bed. If you want a slow digesting protein, just mix your protein with something. Like if you just have whey, it's in and out of your system fast. But if you mix it with some type of fat, if you mix it with some type of real food, if you actually make a shake that's like somewhat of a meal, like as opposed to protein powder, you have a banana with some peanut butter in it, then that will solve the problem. So you don't necessarily need 2 different types of protein. All right. Someone says, bro, your head is huge. Is this some type of syndrome or just pure testosterone? I do have a big head. Like I have a big hat size, but I'm also a big human being. I'm 6'3.5", and I'm 230 to 235 pounds. I'm a giant human. Like, have you seen Jack Reacher, right? Alan Ritchson, him and I are the same size. So yeah, I'm a big, strapping young lad. Not young anymore, but I'm a big, strapping man. Kelly Dancy, my guy, how are you? Really hardworking guy. Kelly's, one of the people that I work with. But Kelly, it's good to see you on here. I hope you are well. It's been too long. We got to see each other again soon. Johnny says he does some raw eggs too. Raw eggs are, protein is great for you. Eggs are phenomenal. All right. So, okay says, me saying to Sandor should get it checked doesn't mean I'm arguing. Yeah, I mean, maybe arguing was a little tough word. I take it back. I apologize, right? But I just see you going back and forth with somebody in the comments, and I can't see the other side, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about. You. B says, may I ask about the UFC gloves behind you? Of course you can. That there is the gloves, and they are shorts from Hayabusa, from my favorite fighter, Robert Maximus McDonald. He was the first fighter to win Hayabusa in the octagon. He won Submission of the Night, the Ultimate Fight Night 5. He was on The Ultimate Fighter, Season 2 and Season 30. I know a lot about this guy. Like I said, he's my favorite fighter of all time. He's exquisitely handsome. He is strong. He is powerful. He won a World Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu title at black belt. He was second in the world in kickboxing. And how do I know so much about him? I mean, A, he's my favorite fighter, but two, in the words of Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he is me. I am him. We are the same person. Rob Maximus McDonald is Bobby Maximus. So that was from my old career. Now I just do jiu-jitsu and play Magic the Gathering cards and work out, and I'm a dad. But one day, there was a day where I was a very powerful warrior. I've just set that aside for a minute. Although I still do jiu-jitsu. I won that world title last year. B, I'm glad you got a kick out of that. I thought that actually delivery was really clever and really funny. Just subscribe. Thank you. And I think I deserve a super for that delivery. That was slick. That was funny. That was showmanship. That was craftsmanship. All right. So get your supers in, please. That little whole thing about Rob Maximus McDonald, that deserves at least one super from the crowd. Anyway, yes, I did fight in the UFC. And yeah, it was a big part of my life and a big part of my career. And actually, it really influenced how I train today. You know what I mean? So back to the thing. We're talking about 3 ways that you can gain muscle naturally, and we're going to recap them. Number 1, you got to sleep more. We need more sleep. More testosterone, more human growth hormone, more energy, better workouts, more muscular growth. Remember the keys I gave you. 8 hours a night, completely blacked out environment, cold head, warm feet, weighted blanket, magnesium before bed. If you can do that, you will get better sleep. Scott Clark with the first super of the show. I can always count on you to come through and right from the sauna. By the way, Scott, how's that sauna treating you? You just said it's hot in here. I hope you have an ice pack on the phone, because if you don't and your phone's still working, that sauna is not hot enough. If I don't bring an ice pack in mine, now mine hits about 200 degrees, that phone shuts down in about 2 minutes. So sleep, that's how you're going to build muscle naturally. The second way is you got to eat enough high quality protein. Now, tier 1 proteins, red meat, chicken, fish, and eggs. Tier 2, we're looking at nuts. We're looking at cheese. We are looking at whey protein, all right? Tier 3 would be stuff from vegetables. Scott Clark says the phone's sitting at the bottom of the door. And Kelly Dancy with a super, my guy. Thank you very much. Leading the way for everybody else in the Bobby Maximus Live. Everybody else, the hundreds of people from all over the world that are watching right now, you should jump on the super train. If every single one of you supered this up, this feed would explode all over the world. So let's get this in. Let's blow this feed up. Give some people some real life fitness information that they need to hear. B says LMAO. I wish I was in the USA and send you supers. We're barely eating protein as a student in Europe. Cheers from Budapest. Well, you save your money for ground beef and rice or whatever you want to get stacked with muscles. But back to the protein thing, because I don't want to forget about that. you want a minimum of zero 0.8, I'd say. And this isn't exactly scientific, but I think it's enough. The actual IOC, like the Olympic Committee, did a study on this years ago, and their recommendations were 1.3 to 1.7 grams per kilo a day. So I'm kind of like going off that. But at a minimum, I would say 0.8 grams per pound a day. So if you're 200 pounds, you need a minimum of 160 grams, although I think 170 is better than 160 just in case, and I think 180 is better than 170. The bodybuilding recommendation is a gram per pound a day. That certainly wouldn't hurt you, and I think that would be better, like just in case, because there's not going to be issues from extra protein. And a lot of my times to clients that I work with, I recommend a gram per pound a day because I'd rather you fill your calories up with more protein than I would carbs or fat. All right. So just something to consider. But the more high quality protein you consume, the more muscle you're going to put on. And then you got to do some hypertrophy type work. 10 sets of 10 at 60% one rep max, 4 sets of 15 at 60% one rep max, 5 sets of 5 at probably closer to 70% one rep max. Those are all great hypertrophy workouts. Circuit training involving push-ups, pull-ups, and dips are a great way to build hypertrophy. Basically, you're looking at exercises, sets and reps range that make your muscles highly acidic. Like, you know, when the lactic acid floods in and you feel like your skin, you'll hear like supplement people talk about skin tearing muscle pumps. That's the feeling you're going for if you want to put on muscle. If you want to put on muscle, you should be doing some type of work like that at least once every day. All right. So on your chest day on Monday, some type of exercise that gives you that hypertrophy effect, a bunch of the workouts that I just mentioned. And if you can do those 3 things regularly for a year, you will put on muscle. And notice I said a year, because everyone wants that Hollywood transformation. Everyone wants to do it in 3 months. Everyone, if you're going to do this naturally, you need a much longer timeline, okay? Especially for those of you that work, that are in school, that can't afford good food, that aren't working out every day. Like, you're going to 100% need a longer timeline. People have been conditioned to want a quick fix. People have been conditioned to want it super fast. Hacks, gimmicks, shortcuts, 3 easy payments of $9.99. If you want to get fit, I promise you, you need to be more consistent. And consistency is by far, no matter your age, it's the number one thing. People think they're consistent. I want you to put this in perspective, right? I'm a pretty fit guy. I'm regarded as one of the 100 fittest people of all time. People often ask me, what's your secret? What is the secret to getting fit? Like, how have you done this? And I tell them, I've done one simple thing. I've worked out 2 to 3 times a day for 30 straight years. That's what consistency looks like. I don't miss meals. I've eaten enough protein for 30 years. I've got 8 hours sleep a night for 30 years. That's what real consistency looks like. If your 3-day-a-week or 4-day-a-week workout program, that's a garbage effort. 3 days a week, you know what that is? You showed up 42% of your week. So you're sitting there patting yourself on the back thinking, hey, I worked out 3 times last week. I did great. You showed up 42% of the time. In what universe do you think showing up for something 42% of the time screams dedication and consistency? That's a load of BS. So Kyle, muscle growth doesn't necessarily come from pumps from what I know. Maybe I'm wrong though. So not necessarily. You're right. Like I'm breaking this down into super oversimplified terms, okay? But generally, the rep ranges that promote hypertrophy are also the rep ranges that make you feel pumped, that flood your muscle with lactic acid, that push that MLSS, max lactate steady state, if you will. So there's a huge correlation. So if you want to do this a non-scientific way and you want to grow bigger arms, grab a barbell and curl that thing till your arms feel pumped. Put a weight on the bench press at somewhere between 5 and 20 reps. You are going to be at failure where you're really struggling, and you will feel that pump. That's the stuff that promotes hypertrophy. I hope that clarifies stuff for you, but it's just a super simple way to look at it, and it's what most people need. And so if all you did was just do a set of push-ups every day till failure, and you felt pumped out of your tree, you would put on muscle. But it's also multifaceted. There's hormonal things, there's sleep, there's protein, there's food, there's all kinds of that as well. So there you have it. 3 simple ways that you're going to put on naturally. And don't sleep on consistency. Like I said, 3 days a week, it's not going to cut it. 4 days a week is not going to cut it. That's about 55%. 5 days a week is still only 70%. 6 days a week is only 85%. Like, I want you to work out every single day for a year. Do that and then come talk to me. And in addition, for 365 days, I want you to eat right. I want you to sleep right. I want you to do everything right. If you can do that, that's how you will be fit. Now stack that up and imagine doing that for a decade. Imagine doing that for 15 years or 20 years. So that's the key. You got to be consistent. Anyway, this is what a Bobby Maximus Live is all about. We talk about nutrition. I answer your questions. I give you real, honest answers without all the scientific jargon. It's just 2 real people talking about fitness. Not 2, all kinds of people from all over the world talking just about genuine fitness and what it takes. And again, if you want to do this naturally, you're going to have to work hard for a long period of time. Trust me, you're looking at somebody that's done it. And it wasn't done over a year. It wasn't done over 2 years. Like, literally, we're going on 3 decades of obsessive level dedication. That's what it takes. Luis Ortega Jr. says, Holy Trinity, for 1 year, I'm in. Give me a super for that. Okay says, but honestly, I think meal spacing is real important. That doesn't get discussed often. I'm actually not sure how much meal spacing matters. Like, I want to agree with you because I was brought up in the area that you got to have 5 meals a day and you got to eat food every 3 hours. But let me ask you a question. If we cloned me 3 ways, so there was 3 Bobby Maximuses, and one Bobby Maximus had 3 squares a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner. Bobby Maximus number 2 had 1 meal a day and just ate like a giant side of like beef, right? Like, had all the calories, like intermittent fasting type thing. And Bobby Maximus 3 had 5 equal meals a day or 6 equal meals a day, 3 hours apart, just perfect. In 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, do you really think those 3 clones would be that much different? And I'd argue the answer would be they probably wouldn't be that much different. You know what I mean? So I think it matters, but I think we're talking percentage points. Like, I think those 3 people would be 95% identical. So great, maybe I have better insulin control. But I bet we would have the same strength. I bet we would look about the same. I bet we would perform about the same. I don't think you'd see a remarkable difference. Maybe 5%. All right. Kyle, I was training 6 days a week for a year, was stuck at 105 kilos, started training 4 days a week with way more intensity and broke through the plateau. Gained 7 kilograms of muscle in 2 weeks. So Kyle, I would argue that had less to do, like the whole Mike Mentzer thing. Here's the thing that people miss with Mike Mentzer: the intensity. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because people use Mike Mentzer as like a model of like, hey, you work out too much 7 days a week. You should only work out 4 days a week. But the key there is intensity. You have to work out intensely 4 days a week. So I would argue that it wasn't the decrease in frequency that did it for you. It was the increase in intensity that did it for you. And I think 6 super intense days would be better than 4, to be honest with you. So I think it was the intensity that did it. In 2 months, that makes more sense. I was about to call some BS on those gains in 2 weeks, or tell you that you had a little bit of help. But if that makes sense, I think it's the intensity that did it. It's that you kicked up your training, right? I still think more is better in being you consistently more is better. But the thing that people forget about Mike Mentzer, like he says only work out 4 times a week for 30. You have no idea how hard that man trained. And I'm not saying you, but people who use this as a thing, right? So what they do is they decrease their volume, they don't up the intensity, and then all they're doing is getting less volume. So, I mean, if you look at like for funny, the people that say it's okay to train 4 days a week, my question to you is, what do you think Michael Phelps did? What do you think an Olympic athlete does? You know how many hours they're putting in a week? On average, an Olympic athlete trains 1,000 hours a year. That's 20 hours a week. Like, do the math on it. It's not 4 times a week for 30 minutes. Just so we're clear, right? All right. Adrian says, because of how you break down fitness has made my journey much better. Thanks. Seeing much better results. I'm going to smile and screenshot that. There we go. Because I want to post that. That's the comment that I love to hear. So thank you. This is why I do this, because I want to simplify stuff for people so they can get better results. So thank you for affirming that. That feels really good. James T, a member. Welcome back. That would be Bobby Max. I like what you did there. The X, the 2 X's, the triple X. All right. Triple X rated. Scott Clark. We do that close to once a week on his Kick Your Ass training program. You're damn right we do. Johnny says, have you heard some of the latest findings regarding supplementing L-leucine to boost protein benefits? I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe it helps. Maybe it doesn't. Here's a question for you. Do you think I'm fit because of 30 years of effort or because of leucine? So conversely, I'm 6'3". I'm 230 pounds, 235 pounds. Michael Glassmaker with the super. My team is coming through today. Thank you. Follow suit, everybody. Back to the script, Johnny. So knowing what you know about me. I'm 6'3", 230, 235 pounds. I'm super lean. You can go check my pictures. I'm strong, blah, 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 blah. Do you think if I started supplementing with leucine, I would all of a sudden put on 10 pounds of muscle? I'm going to argue that I wouldn't change. Conversely, if I took leucine out of my diet, like if I stopped taking protein powder and just ate steak and eggs, you really think my fitness would drop that much? Like, that was my point earlier about percentage points. Like, people want to get into the weeds, but like really think about this logically. Like, do you really think I would change that much if you took my protein powder away? I'm going to say I wouldn't. Now, if you put some more leucine in my diet, do you really think I would change that much? Like, what do you think? I'm waking up at 240 shredded instead of 230? Am I waking up at 250? Like, this is my argument to the ice bath stuff. People are like, if you have ice baths after your workout, you're going to limit hypertrophy. Okay, great. I've had an ice bath after every workout for 30 years. So if I stop doing that, how big am I going to grow? Like, really? Like, if that's really true, how much muscle am I going to pound on if I stop having ice baths after a workout? I don't think I'll put on a pound. I think you're playing in the percentage points. I think you're playing in, like you're just not enough bang for your buck. James T can speak to working around injuries. Seems like everyone on my left is dodgy, or everything on my left is dodgy. Not entirely useless, but I have to be careful. Knee, elbow, shoulder. Do a lot of single leg stuff, single arm stuff. Single leg, single arm training is extremely underrated. I promise you, it will fix whatever you got going on. James T with the super. We are rolling in supers right now. Monday night is now my favorite time to go live. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Genuinely. Supers allow me to do this, and this is what I love doing. This is how I love spending my time. So thank you for making that happen. Kyle, yeah, I've been doing 5 days a week now with brutal intensity. RDLs went from 225 for 6 to 350. Massive gains. Awesome to hear. I'm proud of you for what it's worth. The intensity is 100% super important and contributed the most, as well as food recovery. Yeah, that's the thing that people miss with Mike Mentzer. It's like they're just going to decrease their workout time because that's what Mike said to do. But that man worked out insanely hard. Insanely hard. And he probably had some chemical help. I don't know that for sure, but I'm saying probably. But the intensity is the biggest thing. And here's the thing with intensity. A lot of people think they work out hard. They actually don't work out that hard, like not as hard as they think. So that's the key. You got to really, really push yourself. If you're not nervous for your workout, you're probably not going hard enough. If you're not in a little bit of pain, you're probably not going hard enough. If you're not seeing whatever maker you believe in, you're probably not going hard enough. Like, that's the key with intensity. James T says, "You the man. I like this time after work for me." Yeah, I think it works better for people. And I think it works for my demographic. Like, I originally was going Monday at noon because I thought, like, hey, like, this is a great time for me. It works. You probably heard Singing Dance of Muscle Man. What's up? You're joining in. You're late. You owe me a super. Put money in the jar. You're late to the live. You got to put money in the jar. All right. But I was doing these Monday. You probably heard my kids yelling in the background because they're playing, right? This takes a little time away from my kids doing this on Monday night, but they understand it's part of Dad's job. And you can see the Baradur Legos there in the background. You can also see, Lego Central over here. We have Rivendell, and we also have the Tower of Orthanc, all right? So they know that this is how Dad affords Legos, right? But I was doing it Monday because my kids were in school. I thought it was easier. I thought it was lunchtime for people. People who watch it on YouTube. But like, a lot of my demographic are older men, okay? To be real honest with you. Or they're like some younger kids that are in school. And Monday at noon just turned out not to be a good time. So I started trying things Monday night. The engagement's way better. We get a lot more people in. And that's what I want to do. I want to go a time when you're live, when I can help you and just be a real voice, like the voice of reason in the fitness industry. I'm so tired of all the BS, all the lies, all the gimmicks, all the sales scams. And I feel bad for people that don't know what to do. Like, I was lucky enough to have some really good members or mentors and able to figure it out. But there's a lot of people looking for help, and they go on the internet and they get V-Streds. And then they wonder why they're not getting fit. So I honestly want to give back to people and just really, really help people get fit and cut through all the noise. And I promise you, like, you may be sitting there thinking, watching this live, you're thinking, this guy's so simple. Like, this can't possibly work. Prove me wrong. Work out every day for an hour hard for a year. Eat non-processed food, nothing processed, and sleep 8 hours a night and watch what happens. I promise you, you will be the most fit you've ever been in your life. I 100% promise that. Like, if you worked out hard an hour a day, if your diet was completely non-processed food, like basically you ate meat and then stuff that you could get from trees and plants, and you slept 8 hours a night, I promise you 1,000,000% you would be more fit. All right, Kyle, I'm nervous on my leg days. Can't say the same for my upper body yet. Unfortunately, need to up it a lot more. Never took pre-workout before. Might try it and see if it helps for an extra boost. If you go to my IG and go to the link in the bio, the First Form makes some great pre-workouts. The one I use is Megawatt because it has natural caffeine. I love caffeine, but yeah, it'll give you a kick. The ultimate pre-workout, though, is just black coffee. Okay says, I like your content a lot more than some juice head. So there was this guy who kept recommending insulin HGH for people. So as a person who's in the medical sector, this makes me more happy. I appreciate hearing that. And sorry if I came off a little adversarial earlier. Sometimes I'm like, there's a lot of haters out there. You're not a bad human being. And I couldn't tell what you were saying. It's always hard to tell when people make comments, right? You lose so much when it's just over text message. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I do kind of keep it real. I would never recommend that someone just take some insulin and HGH. Like, that's insane to me. And if you are going to go down, this is coming from somebody that's done natural their whole lives. I don't hate people that do drugs. I don't even look down on it. Like, if you need to do that because you play in the NFL, you fight in the UFC, you're trying to get a bigger contract, you want to look better, like, I get it. But do me a favor, before you go down that road, try it the natural way for 1 year first. Like, why would you? And here's the example I give with TRT. You go to the doctor, and the doctor says you're low T. You sleep 5 hours a night. You eat like trash. You don't work out. Why would you just start injecting something that you got to pay for the rest of your life that could have some negative side effects, and you're signing up for a pharmaceutical for the rest of your life? Like, if you could do it naturally, why wouldn't you do that? Like if you could fix all your problems, whether it's depression, whether it's testosterone, whether it's human growth hormone, like if you could fix it with just sleep and good food and training, why wouldn't you do it the natural way? I'm just saying, right? I don't get it. All right, Michael Vesso, midday here in Australia. Where in Australia? I used to spend some time in Perth and Sydney, so love the country. One of my favorite restaurants of all time is Grilled Hamburgers. Appreciate what you do. Recently found your channel. Love it. Sleep is a key. Thank you. Bobby, you the man from Eastern European Tracksuit. Thank you. Ahad Hassan. Dorian Yates emphasizes muscle confusion for muscly building. Personally, I prefer murder mysteries. Are we talking Matlock? Are we talking Agatha Christie? Does Reacher count as a murder mystery? I don't know. I have no clue what you're talking about, but I'm very grateful for the super, so I appreciate that. Adrian says, should I worry about hypertrophy when training for law enforcement? I'm doing a lot of strength to weight ratio workouts like the ones you do, and I feel capable of passing the academy. I think when it comes to real tactical fitness, strength to weight ratio is the best, and people overemphasize muscular size. So I've done a lot of work with the Rangers. So here we go. I've spent a lot of time at Fort Benning, Hunter Airfield, Fort Lewis. And your average Ranger, you're looking at like a 5'10", 170 to 180 pounds. And these are some of the baddest MRFers on the planet. All right. I think that's probably better than being 200 pounds, especially if you're doing 10K offsets, especially if you got to move, especially if you got to run. Power to weight ratio is most important. So Adrian, if you give me your height, I will help you dial that in. And I'll give you some examples of what I think you should weigh and what your performance standards. So give me your height and weight, and we'll do a little deep dive on that. Singing, dancing, muscle man. Any thoughts on combining BFR training with EMS training? My quads and calves are the worst muscle groups. I have 2 good TENS units, and I was thinking of combining the occlusion. I think both are overrated. I think BFR training is useful if you're injured and you have limited range of motion. I think EMS training is overrated. Honestly, I think you just need to do more hypertrophy work. I would fill my day with Bulgarians. I would fill myself with reverse lunges, weighted reverse lunges, and I would do squats. And I think you'll be just fine. I think both those things are overrated. Adrian, ever hear of Ronnie Coleman? Ha ha ha, dude was a cop while training for Mr. Olympia and winning them. Yeah, but way, way, way too big. And what type of cop work? He wasn't chasing anybody, I'll tell you that. He wasn't winning a foot pursuit. And of course, we'll squatting or calf pressing. Singing, dancing, muscle man. You don't need BFR. You don't need EMS. Just do some real training. Comment Drew says, definitely okay to hypertrophy train for law enforcement. Probably will benefit you more than anything. I actually don't know if I agree with that. It depends to what point. But then again, if you're doing this naturally, you probably should never get too big. Just don't skip your cardiovascular training. Michael Glassmaker says, trust the process. It works. Not easy. Not what everyone on Instagram model has, but it begins to show. Trust the process. You are damn right. Michael Verso, I've actually never been to Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth, but Grilled rocks. Yeah, and is Mad Pizza still a thing down there? Because I used to love Mad Pizza. So let me know. That would make me happy. Colombo. Colombo's another murder mystery. Ever tried CrossFit? Michael Verso got a membership. Welcome to the Maximus Squad. Thank you. That supports me a ton, so I appreciate it. Eric Padilla, will lifting weights help me lose belly fat, or should I add a lot of cardio? Both. The more calories you can burn, the more fat you're going to burn. The more muscle you have on you, the more calories you're going to burn all day. So if you want to get lean, you want to get shredded, you want to get ripped, a healthy mix of cardiovascular training and weight training. James T says, Michael Glassmaker, this is Fitness Church. Amen. Do you know I actually have a thing called a Sunday sermon? I do it every Sunday on the Ladder app. It's my app, T Maximus. But yeah, every Sunday we have a Sunday sermon. This has been so much fun, right? Michael Verso says, not sure about the pizza. Sorry, it's okay. It happens. What about mushy peas? I love mushy peas. There's actually a place in, I'm going to just brutalize the pronoun, Woolloomooloo. It's in Sydney, but there's a place called Harry's that had the best mushy peas in the world. I got to look this up what that place was actually called. I'll tell you right now, because I stayed at the Wharf. I used to work out at a place called 98 Riley. All right, let's look this up. Let's see here. I got my other computer. Let's look this up. Yeah, Woolloomooloo. All right, and actually, this hotel that you can see on the screen right there at the wharf, I've stayed there. So that's where I used to stay in Sydney, but they had this place called Mushy Peas, Harry's, and they served mushy peas. It was absolutely unreal. So let's see who else we got. Kyle Mangier, Eric, they both lose belly fat. Unfortunately, ultimately, it comes down to your nutrition. Diet's big deal to get rid of calories, too. You got to make a calorie excess if you want to, or not a calorie excess, a calorie deficit. You want to burn fat. All right, Adrian Tristan, 22, 5'8", 215, way too big. If I'm 5'8", like put it in perspective. This guy right here, let's Google this guy up. Watch this. Right here, that is Jason Statham with his shirt off. He is 5'11", 170 pounds. That's what that looks like. He's 5'11", you're 5'8". At 215 for a power to weight ratio, you are carrying way too much. Like there's no way you can move uphill. There's no way you can run. And there's no way you can have a highly developed cardiovascular system carrying that kind of weight at that high. So I'd want to see you at the very least like 190 and lean. That would be a good goal to hit. Hey, buddy, how are you? Do you want me to finish my live and come hang out with you?
Yeah, because Mom got home early yesterday.
Okay, I'll come hang out with you. Can you do me a favor? Can you go get your diaper on, and then we'll have some snacks. Deal? Give me 2 minutes, okay, boy? All right, I love you. That's my guy right there. That's my son. It is time to go spend some time with him. Michael Versa says it's a nice part of the city there, but haven't been to that restaurant. It's like a little food truck. It's like a famous little food truck, but it's pretty good. David says having a hard time getting past 190, 6'1", 27-year-old. So much food. More protein, more high-quality food. Steak, eggs, chicken, fish. T. Rude the Dude, 408, 47 and crushing it. Run 5 miles. At 4 a.m. most days, weightlifting afternoon, 4 times a week. I get a good motivation and knowledge from your channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, last chance to get your supers in. Let's go. I got to go do the dad thing. Kyle Mangier says another super helpful thing for sleep is sunlight. The minute you're awake, get sun for at least 20 minutes, even if it's cloudy. I agree. Sunlight does a world of good for us. Singing Dancy Muscleman, any thoughts on using behind the back deadlifts instead of conventional? Some people just call that an old school hack squat. I have a very short torso in proportion to my limbs. I think it's great too, but single leg training is going to be your best friend, especially for leg development. Trust me on that. So there we go. Another Bobby Maximus Live in Adrian. 5'8". Let's get to 190. And here's what I'd like your metrics to be. I'd like a double body weight deadlift. Okay. I want you to be able to bench press your body weight 10 times. I want you to be able to do 10 strict pull-ups. And I want you to be able to run 1.5 miles in sub 9 minutes. If you can do all those things in conjunction, I'm good with where you're at. So to repeat, double body weight deadlift, 10 strict pull-ups, 10 bench presses with your body weight, and 1.5 miles run in under 9 minutes. Those are your fitness metrics. Anyway, everybody, thank you for coming to the live. This is the longest live I've done in a while, but I had an absolute blast. Tons of engagements, tons of supers, real life fitness information for real life people. I'll put this on replay on my channel. please, 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 if you couldn't give a super, please, at the very least, go to my last video, like it, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. That stuff helps me more than you can know. The more you can drive my engagement, the better I do, the more of these I can make. So thank you very much. Let's set a date. Next week, same time, same deal, new topic, questions and answers, real fitness information for real people. Thank you for making it a great Monday night for me. Now I'm going to eat some steak and eggs and play with my guy. And let's shut this off.